God kväll, good evening. Ska du veta here? How's everyone doing? Right, earlier I did the 8 axes test. Just as a, little bit of a judge on where my political and social, etc. axes lie. Now, there are 2 more, as far as I'm aware. I'm going to do the 9 axes, and I think there's something called the alt axes. So here we go with the second, and again this one's at 9axes dot axes dot github.io. I think I'm gonna have to do something in a second. There we go. Right. So this time we've got the religious side of things. There we go. Right, so what is 9 axes? 9 axes, based off of 8 values, is a political quiz that attempts to assign percentages on 9 different political axes. You will be presented by a statement, and then you will answer with your opinion on the statement, strongly agree to disagree, with each answer slightly affecting your scores. At the end of the quiz, your answers will be compared to the maximum possible for each value, thus giving you a percentage. Answer honestly. I will actually. Cool. There are 2 versions of the quiz. A full version with 24 questions per axis for a total of 216 questions. Okay, I might do that one. Probably. In a short version, yeah, I'm going to do the full version. What are the 9 axes values? There are 9 independent axes where each has opposing values assigned to them. And what I like about this is it's on a scale. Like, there are extremes, but it's non-absolutist. There's always some kind of scale to it. What else? So yeah, first one is federal versus unitary. Now, I have a feeling this was made by someone in the US, but I think we can translate that to Brits. Federal tends to favour over stronger local governments. Tends to favour stronger local governments. Unitary tends to prefer stronger national governments. Democratic versus authoritarian. So you've got democratic tends to favour elections and popular opinion. Authoritarian tends to prefer the judgment of government. Globalist versus isolationist. Globalist tends to prefer international organisations, and isolationist tends to prefer avoiding international relations. So, Biden versus Trump for Americans. Militarist versus pacifist. So it's kind of obvious. Militarist tends to favour military action. Pacifist tends to prefer against. Security and freedom. Security tends to favour government prioritising safety. Freedom tends to prefer government prioritising staying out of their lives, which I'm not sure how you can make a priority. Equality versus markets. Equality tends to favour socialism, and the others for capitalism. Basically, socialism versus capitalism. Secular versus religious. Secular prefers religion stay out of public life and the government. Those with high religious scores tend to prefer religion having some effect on society. Progressive versus traditional. Progressive tends to favour scientific advancement and change, and traditional tends to favour, obviously tradition. And then we've got assimilationist versus multiculturalist. Assimilationist tends to favour immigrants, or if any, conforming to the national culture, and multiculturalist tends to prefer having many cultural identities in the nation. So what I like about this one compared to the last one is that with this one it's more detailed. I not sure just how accurate this is going to be, but we'll give it a go. Give me the full version. There we go. So, question 1. Only those who served in the military should be able to gain power in government. No, this is how we end up with military juntas, people, or juntas, whatever you want to call them. So, strongly disagree with that fucker. Environmental regulations are essential. Absolutely, strongly agree with that. We have no right to militarily intervene in other nations. I take it this is an absolutist statement, so I'm going to say no. But see, this will be unfavourable, but when you've got atrocities going on in a country and nothing is happening, nothing is going on to change it, surely someone who can help to change it. That mistakes have been made, but this is where we learn from our mistakes, people. This is where we learn from our mistakes. Don't try to change the underlying culture on a fundamental level into a Western one. Just remove the threats and let them deal with building the country back up in the way they want to, not in our own image. So I'm going to say neutral. Even when protesting an authoritarian government, violence is not acceptable. Now, this question was in the last one, and on that one I disagree with. 2 seconds. Rats. Oh, my rats are pests. Lol. Anyway, if we accept migrants at all, it is important that they assimilate into our culture. I'm going to say no. But not strongly. Again, this seems to be an absolutist statement, so I'm going to disagree, but not strongly. Laws should be completely consistent within all regions of a nation. Yeah, saves on alienation, on other between and disparity between different parts of the. Yeah, I agree with that. A group of states without a strong national government is merely an alliance, not a nation. By whose standard? Okay, so by my standard. Okay, so is this like a difference between the European Union and the United States? Because the United States classes itself as one country, whereas the EU classes itself as technically an alliance, a bloc. So maybe. Remain neutral. I'm proud to be in my country. That depends. I'm going to say agree, but not strongly. Yeah. Religious clothing should be banned from public. Disagree strongly. In general, immigrants are bad for the country. Disagree strongly. The government should be by the people, for the people. Agree. If you have nothing to hide, then you shouldn't care about the government having access to your communications. This is another difficult one. How do we judge it? I mean, logically, I would say I would agree with that statement. But when you think about when you have a deep dive into the ethics of that statement, it doesn't seem quite so clear cut. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go with agree, but not strongly, because I don't want to go neutral. I feel I have to take a side on this. War usually leads to worse outcomes. How would you quantify that? Exactly. What if a country just doesn't go to war, but stagnates and becomes decrepit because of that? I'm going to remain neutral on that one. The wealthy have far more than they need. Oh, damn fucking yes. Yes, I fully agree with this. Strongly agree. I support single-payer universal healthcare. Yes. Fucking yes. We should be taking in more refugees. Yes. Nobody in other countries has our best interest in mind. Possibly. I'm not going to go with strongly agree, but I'll go with agree. Government-owned industry is usually a bad idea. Disagree. Religious organisations often provide better assistance to the poor than the government does. Well, that depends on the government, doesn't it? So for me, if you had a government that knew what it was fucking doing, I'd completely disagree with that. I'm going to remain neutral here. Laws should vary from area to area and culture to culture within a country. No, because that's where you get discrimination. I'm sorry, I get that there are cultural things, but this is where I believe that culture and religion do have a place within government, because that's where you can include those kind of special things into law when it concerns separate religions. So, no, I disagree with that. It is a good idea to test a policy in one state rather than implementing it nationwide right away. So for here, that would be maybe trying something in Wales or Scotland or a particular county, Devon or Cornwall or Somerset, where I am, or further up country. I'm pretty sure this is how it's done. That's how it's done in this country already, and I don't actually have an argument with it, so I'll agree with that. Government surveillance is necessary in the modern world. Yes. I'm not going to strongly agree with this, but yeah, I agree with it. Border protection is important. Yeah. But it shouldn't be made into into a thing that racists can pick up like it has been. Technological progress is usually good. Yes, sort of. People should not have protections that could hinder discovering their criminal activity. Yeah, this is what I mean by government surveillance. It's all well and good saying that we want complete freedoms, but then does that mean that murderers get to get away with their crap? So yeah, diplomatic options should always be tried before war is even considered. Fully agreed with this. Strongly agree. Economy. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Economies without capitalism will collapse. No. The poor choose to be poor. No. But I mean, some do. But to say that that's true of everyone in destitution is ridiculous. Catering to popular opinion is detrimental to a nation. Yeah, no, Brexit. Immigrants should be expected to learn the language of the country. Now, this one I do agree with. Cultural assimilation is one thing, but learning the language of the country that you migrating to is a completely different thing. What are you doing back there, lady? Oh, have I got Freya in here, have I? Hang on. Hello, little girlie. What are you doing? You want to come and join me and see what's going on in this test? Oh, look at that there. So, diplomacy only hurts nations. What kind of retard thinks that diplomacy only ever hurts nations? Eh? Racists and bigots and authoritarians, that's who. Yes. Well, go on. Oh, you don't want to go up there? Well, that's a first. Go on then. Huh? Well, yeah, I'm not wearing my tunic right now. Too hot. So I disagree with that. No authority should be left unquestioned. Fucking right. What? Do you want to go up there? My nation should stay out of international affairs. Fully disagree with that one. Alliances can pose a threat to a nation's sovereignty. Again, this one, yes, it's a bit leading, but alliances can pose a threat to a nation's sovereignty. This is true, but at the same time, not necessarily. So, I'm staying neutral. No, I'm going to disagree with that one because not necessarily. Abortion should be legal in all cases. I'm going to say yes, but not strongly because I don't believe in it. If someone's trying to just use abortion for contraceptive reasons, and then I know that's controversial to say, but I actually know of certain girls who've done that disgusting shite, and it's very rare that happens. I hate it when the right wing media decides they're gonna take these rare cases and say it's a common thing, and that's the reason why abortion should be banned. Fuck off. But doesn't mean we shouldn't ignore it. Tradition just hinders the progress of technology. Not necessarily. Equality of outcome is important. Yeah. Yeah, there's not been enough of that, I suppose. Local governments address issues that the national government would never touch without them. Yeah, I suppose if you're getting up to a country where the government's the size of either the UK or the US, yeah, I have to agree with that one. Subdivisions should not be able to be exempt from national laws. Neutral. Marijuana should be legalized. Fucking right. There is something after that. I believe there is something after death. Personally, yes. Countries that violate human rights should be toppled. Yes, but not strongly. Taxes should be increased on the rich to provide for the poor. Strongly agree. the government should not regulate the economy at all. Fuck right off. Human-caused climate change is currently one of the greatest threats to our way of life. Damn straight. Sex outside marriage is immoral. Fuck right off. A government must maintain a strong military to defend itself. Now, this is something I actually do agree with. I'm not a pacifist. I might be pagan, but I'm not a pacifist. People should vote issue by issue themselves. There are different types of democracy, and I think it could get extraordinarily bureaucratic if we went down this route. So I'm going to disagree. People should think of themselves as citizens of a nation rather than the state. No. I'm not in favour of the opposite, but in favour of it not being a contradiction, of them not being in favour of them not actually being contradictory. Okay? War is never justified. I can't say that. Peace is preferable to war whenever possible. Now that is true. I'm going to say that, but I do like the specification at the end of that statement of whenever possible, because it makes it non-absolutist. So I agree with that. Democracy is more than just a decision-making process. This is another one that's a carry-on from the last one, and I do agree with that. States cannot function without strong national government. In context of the modern day, I do agree. This is true. If the structure of our societies was that of a few hundred years ago, or maybe 1,000 years ago, possibly, but I don't believe that now. So yeah, I agree with that. People should have the power to choose their leaders. Fucking yes. Nations should not maintain a military. Disagree. Whistleblowers should be strongly protected. Agree. Society was better many years ago than it is now. That depends on your context. And on the whole, I'd say no. Like, I want to bring back certain traditions, but that doesn't mean I want to completely go back to the Middle Ages. Fuck, crying out loud. Governments should, as Simon Whistler said, the past is the worst. Governments should be accountable to the international community. I do agree with that, but I'm not going to say strongly agree, because I do believe in individual countries holding themselves to account as well. Genetic modification should be used rarely, if ever. Again, I'm actually going to go neutral here, purely because despite the fear-mongering, we don't actually know the outcomes of this properly. So, yeah. Local governments can understand their citizens better than the national government could. Maybe, but quite often local governments are even more biased than the national one. So I'm going to disagree with that one. We should respect those who have served in our military. I'm going to get lambasted for this, but not necessarily. I'm not going to say disagree with this. I'm going to go neutral. But the reason why is because being British, I am not proud. I'm not exactly proud of our military history. I am in many respects, but not in others. So, yeah, that's just how it is. Two seconds. Ah, I thought something got me here. Yeah. Noises. Anyway. So yeah, I don't mean that to be insulting to anyone to honourable soldiers who've gone to war and have not dishonoured themselves needlessly. Okay? To chase progress at all is dangerous. To chase progress at all costs is dangerous. Yes. Free of the market, free of the people. Nope. Why do I say this? Because, well, evidence. The right wing have been trying to make free of the market, free of the people for years. Hello, lady Siv. And look at the point we're at. So I'm going to disagree with that one. We are first. No, hang on. Strongly disagree. We are first and foremost citizens of Earth. Yes. There are many issues that it does not make sense to address at local level. Yes. Nations fighting among each other gets in the way of progress. Now this is true, but again, it all depends on the context of what that fighting is about. So yes, but no. I'm not going to go strongly agree on this one. I'm going to agree, but not strongly. The UN should have a military to enforce its resolutions. I reckon this should be more. This statement should be corrected to a better, a strongly reinforced military to enforce its resolutions. I agree with that strongly. We should not allow any refugees. Fuck off. The sacrifice of some civil liberties is necessary to protect us all from the acts of terrorism. I actually agree with this. Everybody, but again, that depends. Again, not everyone is an actual terrorist. And I'm not saying that there aren't any either. Everybody should speak at least 2 languages. I kind of agree with this. Honestly, moving forward as a people, there is no need for local or state governments. Now, I think this is anarchist, and I don't actually agree with this, especially with the population size that it is. Elections are an effective way of showing government approval. Yeah. And disapproval. A nation must obey its leadership without question. No. That's where we start to get big mistakes. Really big mistakes. So no, strongly disagree with that. Religion does not belong in government. See, again, I'm going to refer to my previous to my previous statement on the previous question with this one. I do agree that this should religion in the context of culture, however. So yeah. Support gay marriage. Yeah, I'm not gay myself or bi, but yeah, I support it. Illegal immigrants do not provide benefit to the hosting country. Fuck off. It is necessary for the government to intervene in the economy to protect consumers. Yes, I do agree with that. I support regional unions such as the European Union. I agree with that. Representatives rarely represent the nation well. At the moment. So I'm going to remain neutral. In the modern era, militaries aren't really necessary. I disagree with that. Because we still haven't moved past 19th and 20th century thinking. So there must be a separation between church and state. Now, again, this is an American thing. And yet, whilst they say this, there are a lot of laws that favour Christianity over anything else. So I'm going to disagree with that one. Religion must decline for society to progress. Not necessarily. I'm going to strongly disagree with that, but I disagree with it nonetheless. The government has no business looking into most people's personal lives. I agree, but not strongly agree. Local governments should have more power than they currently do. Yep. People should have to work for anything they get. Again, does that mean we leave millions of people in the dirt if they simply aren't able to? So, no. Illegal immigrants should be deported in most or all cases. I don't agree with that. No cultures are superior to others. No, I agree with that. No cultures are superior to others. I strongly agree with that. Traditions are of no value on their own. No, because humans aren't just robots. The general populace makes poor decisions. Depends on the context, doesn't it? I'm going to have to remain neutral. Popular opinion is not always right. Fucking yes. The government should have access to the emails of suspected terrorists. Unfortunately, I do agree here. Faith is complete nonsense. No. But, again, I'm not going to force... Just because I have a faith doesn't mean that other people have to. Yeah? There's a difference. There is no higher power. Well, again, that depends on how you describe it. A higher power is in a god, but a anthropomorphized sentient god. Me personally, I've got to disagree with that. War is needed to make an economy thrive. Not necessarily. Military action by our nation is often necessary to protect it. Now that is true. A constant state of war benefits a country. Nope. It is important to maintain our national sovereignty. Yeah, but not absolutely. A national government must be strong to adequately protect all its citizens as much as possible. Yeah. Countries that do not serve our interests should be toppled, or that don't serve the interests of the people that they supposedly represent. Yeah, right. Too right. People's freedoms should have no limits. No, I don't agree with that. Military spending is a waste of money. Nope. Oppression by corporations is more of a concern than by governments. This is another holdover from the last test. And yeah, I kind of agree. So yeah, we should be more accepting to other cultures. Agree. United Nations should be abolished. Disagree. It is very important to maintain law and order. I do agree with this, but not strongly. A nation needs a military in order to survive. I'd like to say no, but that's idealistic of me, so no. Sorry. Yes. I enjoy some foreign cultures, actually, I do. All humans share a common identity. Yes. National government protects minorities better than some local governments do. How do you judge that? That depends on the government, doesn't it? The ideal one, again. Let me know on that one. I'm going to say yes, but you can let me know on that one whether you agree or disagree. People should have the right to leave their wealth to their descendants. From a Norse pagan point of view, this is a yes. Pretty sure the Celtic thing, it's the same here, but I do believe that there is some sort of spreading out of wealth as well. Capitalism is better than any existing alternative. I don't think so. If AI could rule more effectively than humans, then AI should rule. No, because it wouldn't be human. The national government needs more power. What do you mean? Okay. In context, it depends on what context. More power to do certain things, and it needs some neutral on that one. People should have equal opportunities to succeed. Fucking right. Hierarchical state is best. Again, this is another holdover from the last one, and I'm not sure how to judge this one. Yeah. State laws should have precedence over national laws. Okay, so in the UK that would be like counties having their own laws and them having precedence over laws that come out of Westminster. So no, I don't agree with that. People born to wealthy families have unfair success even when they aren't skilled and don't work hard. Yeah, fucking right. Yeah, fucking right on that shit, man. Leaders must be strong or a nation will suffer. I think we've seen that. Public opinion swings too much with emotional events to be useful for policy making. Now, see, this is an absolutist statement, so I've got to disagree. Immigrants are a net positive. I actually do, even though, well, there's not necessarily. Actually, no, I don't necessarily believe this is absolutist because it's a net positive. Only those who serve in the military should be allowed to have an influence on who is in power. Again, this is a holdover, so no. Religion should be removed from everything in our government. No. All societies are a blend of cultures, technically. People should hold more loyalty to their local state than to their country. Disagree. Elections are a waste of resources. I don't agree with that. The United Nations needs more power. I agree with that. Communism, if implemented correctly, would be a good form of economics. I don't know enough about economics. I'm learning about economics, but do I believe that? Well, possibly. But I'm not sure it would work at the level that of population that we're at. And if that's the case, then that means another case of culling, and I don't want that either. I'm going to agree until there's evidence to prove absolutely no otherwise. Nobody but me can adequately represent my views. It's one of the reasons why I've come on here in the first place. But at the same time, not necessarily. Like Russell Howard, he's funny as fuck. But when he gets a little bit serious when you read through the lines on his comedy, when you see exactly whilst he's being funny, he's also being serious at the same time. There's a lot that I agree with. So I'm not sure. No, I can't agree with the absolutely statement. Maintaining family values is essential. Yeah, but I'm not going to agree with that strongly. Excessive government intervention is a threat to the economy. No. When people have already suffered, because, well, again, it depends. That's why I didn't fully disagree with it, because it depends on the government. When people, and the people actually intervening, when people have already suffered for technology to be developed, we should use that technology. Well, yeah, because, after all, what's the point? Police need more power and protection. But, and again, it also, previous question, it also, it depends on what context you're talking about. So, police need more power and protection. Yeah, well, not strongly. The government should not break up monopolies. Fuck off. Strong states weaken a nation. Not necessarily. Uh, Foreigners should never enter the country. Fuck off. That's xenophobic to the extreme. A country cannot function without national government. Yeah, in these days, yeah. Public utilities like roads should be, roads and electricity should be publicly owned. Yes, another one that's followed from the 8 values test, and I agree with that strongly. Traditions are important. Yes. Religion is beneficial for society. Now, yes, but not all of them. And again, for me, everything's on a scale. So, alliances are important in protecting a nation. They can very well be. A military option should always be considered. Yeah, I like the wording there. We should put effort into getting a person on Mars in the near future. I actually do agree with this. People should, because science and research, people should be given freedom whenever it causes little security risk. Now, this is better than the other statement of giving people complete and total freedom. Countries fall apart with constant war. Yep. We must go back to a basic way of life without modern conveniences. You could say that, but again, that means a serious culling, practically, on a practicality basis. So no, it is important that it's idealistic at best. It is important that we maintain the traditions of our past. Some of them. Government should not fund any religious organisations in any way. Now, this I do agree with. However, if the religious organisation is to do with, say, a part of our national heritage, then I'll have to side with the other side on that one, so I'll have to go neutral. From each according to his ability, each according to his need. Again, this is a communist thing, I think, and I've got to go neutral here. Religion usually provides the truth. No. The stronger the leadership, the better. I'll agree, but not strongly. International trade is generally beneficial. Yeah. Generally. Police should be regulated more. Yes. Automation is extremely good for society. Extremely good. Agree. International aid is a waste of money. No. The more people ask, the better chance there is of reaching the best decision. Now, this is a philosophical question that I'm not sure where to side on. Because I'm sure there's a thing called a saturation point when it comes to this kind of thing. So, disagree. Some freedom must be given up in order to keep people safe, and unfortunately, yes. My religious values should be spread as much as possible. No. Because that to me just says conversion. Only extremely talented immigrants, if that, should be permitted to enter the country. No. The local governments give each region good representation of their views. It depends on how these governments are elected. These local governments are elected. So I'm going to go yes, but not strongly. Society could not function without leaders and followers. Unfortunately, since the hunter-gatherer days, and even then, it's possible that it wasn't a whole equilateral basis. But that doesn't mean that there has to be such a large disparity. Technology is negatively affecting the modern society. Yes and no. And I side more with no than yes, but I'm not saying that it doesn't negatively affect us either. National government can't understand what people need. Not necessarily. People must be allowed to follow. Yeah, if you're going to stop people from following a religion if they want to, then that's authoritarianism. I don't like that. It is important that the government follows the majority opinion, even if it's wrong. Brexit. I disagree here. Democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others we've tried, unfortunately. A country must be sure to take all measures to enforce its laws. Yeah, but not strong. I'm going to go neutral on this. Testing products on animals is ethical. No. Traditional medicines are often more effective than modern medicines. If you're going by plant-based things, then possibly, but no. Our culture would be better with other cultures mixed in more. Yeah. Absolute freedom makes a society dangerous. Yes. Nations should cooperate whenever it benefits both of them. Yes. State and local laws should have precedence over national laws. No. Those who disagree with the government should be removed from the country. No. Immigrants can never really adapt to our way of life. No. There should not be international law. Strongly disagree. Elders in society know the best path for it. Again, not necessarily. Government should monitor all citizens to combat terrorism. Neutral. Democracy makes it too easy for a majority to further itself at the expense of minorities. Not necessarily. It depends on the type of democracy. There should be compulsory military service. No. There should voluntary military service. I fully agree with. There should be no police force. Disagree. In order for humanity to survive, we must get past having separate nations. Maybe, but I'm not sure about that right now. Could disagree. It's better to maintain a balanced budget than to ensure welfare for all citizens. Disagree. Governments should be as concerned about foreign citizens as they are about those within their borders. Yeah. Lasting peace leads to prosperity. Well, it ought to. Basic things are needed to live. Yeah. Needed to live, such as healthcare, are rights. Fuck on right. Especially with a nation that can actually accommodate that. A better world will come from automation, science, and technology. It should, but again, depends who wields it. Theocracy is a good system of government. No. Religion should be banned. No. Children should be educated in religious values. Again, this is a holdover from the last one, and I say yes in the context of being educated in all of the religious values of all of the cultures represented in their area, so that they understand people that live around them. Genetic modification is a force for good even on humans. Not sure on that one. The benefits of open borders outweigh the costs. Yeah. Laws should not be based on religion. Is that an absolutist statement? Disagree. Those who do not work should die. No. Internet should be banned. No. Most bad things happening in the world are caused by us turning away from religion. Maybe it could be that we're looking at, like, we're turning away from religion, we're getting lost in a void. Possibly. Most drugs should be legalized, yeah. Victimless crimes such as drug use should not be a crime use at all, yeah. Technology is not always beneficial. It's not always beneficial, this is true. Direct democracy is the best form of government. What, so you go to the country for absolutely every single policy decision? Nah. The government should support and only... That's why you come up with manifestos, make up these policies, take it to the country, and then vote on a bunch of policies rather than one after another. The government should support and only recognise one religion. Fuck right off. There is no need for a national government. No. A nation's culture is important to protect. I do agree with this. But however, it shouldn't be prioritised. My nation is closer to my views than most nations in the world. Not sure. Any deals with other countries any deals other countries want must be bad for us. No, I don't. I don't agree with that absolutely statement. It is must. I mean, yeah, that has. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Look at New Zealand, but it doesn't mean it must be. Is it more important? It is more. Sorry. It is more important to retain peaceful relations than to further our strength. All I've got to say to that is Neville Chamberlain. Until as an international society, we can move on from that kind of thinking. Then no. Each person should have one vote each equal to every other. Yeah. The very existence of the state is a threat to our liberty. Yes and no. So neutral. Having independent nations with the risk of global conflict creates a large threat to humanity as a whole. Having independent nations with the risk of global conflict. Yeah, but again, not necessarily. Our national languages should only our national languages should be spoken in our country. Disagree. Every religion must be looked upon equally by the government. Fucking alright. Subdivisions of nations should have their own militaries. No. The united world government would be beneficial to mankind. Yes. I believe in a higher power. Again, I have to agree with this, but again, I don't personally believe in an anthropomorphized one. So, national cultures are important to protect, yes, but not at the expense of everything else. Anybody who wants to enter the country should be able to. Yeah, not without checks. So, 9 Axis results. 216 questions. That took a while, certainly longer than the last one. So, on the federal versus unitary, turns out I'm more unitary than federal. By 56% to 44%, so it's rather neutral. Democracy versus authority. Democracy over authority on that one, by 68% to 42%. Moderate globalist over isolationist, so sorry Trump, fuck off. Neutral on militarist, literally neutral apparently, between pacifist and militarist, so 50-50. On the security versus freedom front, I'm Brexit numbers, but in terms of in favour of freedom. Extreme equality. Fucking hell. So when it comes to equality or markets, I'm rated as extremely on the extreme equality measure. But when it comes to between religious and secular, that's a very nice balance. So in the last one it was 82 to 18% for equality over the markets. Between secular and religious, it's 4. I'm more for. It says on this that I'm more balanced towards religion, but it's only at 55-45 bias, so I don't take secularism out of hand. Between progress and tradition, I'm more for progress. However, tradition does play a role. So it's the same as the last one, but the other way around. And if in terms of being an assimilationist or a multiculturalist, it's 75% multiculturalist to 25% assimilationist, and this matches directly to the last test in calling me a democratic socialist. So, yeah. Interesting. There's again, the Christians would say don't take it as gospel, but it's a decent go. I like this one because it's has a more you get a more detailed picture. I wonder just how true these things, are when it comes to our values. But I do think it's a decent gauge, honestly. That's just kind of how I look at myself. I was interested. I wouldn't have said it was exactly how I thought I'd look at myself, but yeah. There's a lot of balance in there, so quite happy with that. I hope everyone has a good evening. God kväll. This has been Shadow Eater doing the 9 Axes review.